excuse me about that, but how individuals are motivated to do something by someone else, right? And why it's and why it's a that's an organ mental illness, right? Um, I'm explaining how why all that shit, right? So you may be like, yo, JC, why is it a mental illness for somebody to get motivated? It's not. It depends. It's not. It's how you do something, right? It's how someone's wired, and it's also how someone's wired and all that shit, right? But that'll be later down the line. Just I'm finna freestyle this for y'all, right? So I'm gonna give you an example too, right? So like let's just say somebody. This is how weird this shit is though. This is how this shit work though. But this is how weird it is too. So let's just say you have an individual that right that does a simple act. I'm showing you how this works by an example, right? Let's say you have one individual that goes outside and just goes for a walk daily, right? Um, I'm gonna show you how this can motivate somebody, right? Goes outside for a walk daily, just a walk, right? That can influence motivate somebody. That can influence motivate somebody to like, uh, I don't know. It'd be weird though. Do some dumb shit, some smart shit. Doesn't matter whatever it is, right? But that can motivate somebody to go drive fast just by seeing me walk. Just by seeing me walking, right? That can motivate, influence somebody else, right? This other person that doesn't even know me. It doesn't matter if they know me or don't know me, right? But I'm gonna get to why it's a mental illness. It can be it's a mental. It can be a mental illness. Somebody getting motivated to go speed drive their car just by somebody walking and shit like that, right? Um, you may be like, okay, so JC, how is that a mental illness? Well, I'm gonna explain to you why. Um, bear with me, right? Why? But see, it's like I told you, it's how somebody does something. It's how somebody's wired, right? So, but like you can't really, depending on who you are, you might not be able to tell if somebody's doing something out of spite or they doing something. That's the word. That's pretty much better to use spite instead of motivated, right? But some people may not be able to tell the difference of that, right? But I'm gonna show you how, right? So but here's the tricky part though, right? Because it may not even make sense. You'd be like, how? This is why it's taking me kind of hard to like kind of long to put shit together because it's like, how does that make sense? I'm gonna explain to you how, right? It may not make sense when I say this to you, right? But a mission, right? Pushing off, right? Um, yeah. Just by and that's so funny I use that example because just by somebody coming outside, right? Depending on who that person is, right? Just by them coming outside and going for their walk, whatever it is that they do is motivating somebody else to go speed and drive their car fast, right? Um, just based off omission. I don't even know if that's a word, but omitting, right? Just off of stepping when that person's going for a walk, right? But not only that, there's something about this is the part where it's spiritual and it may not. Everything can't always doesn't have to be. Everything doesn't always have to have a mathematical equation, a scientific. Um, yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, right? To it, some things it's just like when people say you can't measure someone's heart. This is the shit I'm talking. This is the kind of just shut your ass up and just listen to what I'm saying to you, right? So yeah. Well, let me let these people pass by for a minute. So yeah, just by admitting, right? But not only that, your energy gives people the confidence to do shit they didn't do, or you may be somebody like that, do shit they didn't do just by being you. Pretty much. See how it don't have to be rocket science? So like me rap me say somebody is making a music or some shit like that, right? You may influence somebody to go fly a plane they never flown before and shit like that you know what I mean? So they don't want to lose they don't want to lose their lack of fearlessness or some shit. So by like somebody rapping or making music, you can influence a motherfucker to go fly a different type of plane they never flew before and shit like that. You understand? A grown ass man and shit like that. You understand? So that's what this video is about and shit like that. People getting motivated by somebody else. Now it's a mental illness or spite. Spite is more of the word, because motivation is not necessarily negative, but it could be. So I could use any of the words. Anything could be negative, right? But you get what I'm trying to say to you? Just by you being you and doing some dope shit, you influencing somebody to do something, but it's not out of spite though. Why is that a spite? Because their space they're in. That's what I meant by how they're wired. That's what I meant by that. The space they're in, right? And then these people, right? I don't want to get too off the rails here, right? But these people, like, they have that energy, like why can't I be a chosen one? Why can't I get attention? Why can't I this that, right? And then that kind of mindset and shit like that trickles down into different ethnicities, all different kind of people, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be one specific ethnicity, one specific person, one type of person, or one type of, no. This shit starts strict. This was passed down and shit like that. That's a whole different other video and shit, right? But yeah, you can influence somebody to just do, but it's out of spite, because like I just told you, that's where we're at with it, because the space they're in, right? So that person that's getting motivated to go speed fast, drive fast, and shit like that, right? When I mean by it's out of spite, it's coming from a place of you being jealous or being mad or some shape or form of that person not needing a car, or not needing a car for attention like you. That's the part where it comes out of spite. And like, there's a whole bunch of other shit with that. There's more layers with that before you get to the root, but that's pretty much what it is. If it's coming from a place of spite, and all the other shit that's coming with that is not far from that. And what is that? You being a fucking hater, being jealous of some shit that somebody don't need a car for attention. So that's what's making you put your foot on the gas so impulsively without your stupid ass even knowing it, right? And shit like that. And then you over here judging people for walking. You over here judging people for making music. You over here judging people for this, judging people for that, but judging people for this. But you, right? Then you have you, or not necessarily you, but you have somebody, right? Some dude who's getting motivated to do what they're doing because of you. Superior JC. More content coming soon, man.